Hello, how's it going today? So, we're gonna have a fun evening tonight because I'm in kind of a mood. So, we're gonna be basically going over some of the sketchy people that you're going to find on Clubhouse. If you're not aware of what Clubhouse is, it's the drop-in audio app that launched last year. It's been getting a lot of buzz, and basically nobody really knows what to do with this app because there's around 12 million people that are on this app, well, that have downloaded this app. I'm one of the people who downloaded it. It was not on it at all, and most people are not. It's a ghost town. But what's happening is that we have a bunch of people who are somehow famous off of Clubhouse, but only famous on Clubhouse. When you go anywhere outside of Clubhouse, they're nothing. And this cult is just kind of unique in a way. Like on any other social platform like Instagram or TikTok or Twitch or YouTube, anything, Facebook, you have people that can get popular on this platform, but once they get like they fully blow up, they usually end up being somebody who's got some kind of value to give. That's not true on Clubhouse. And so, what we're going to do is go over six of the sketchiest people that I have seen on the Clubhouse app. And there are a lot of sketchy people on there. I'm just going to go over six of them that you should see that are pretty high profile or have some interesting stories that you should check out. And we're just going to go through the list. It's in no particular order, but I did, I guess we'll do it in numerical order counting down. So number six, we've got Ronan V. Now, Ronan V somehow has 3.3 million followers on Clubhouse. He's a art and tech producer and a mimetic engineer, I guess is what he's saying he is. So this guy is apparently some artist. He's some like curly-haired ginger. He looks kind of like Carrot Top before Carrot Top did steroids, so kind of like a skinny carrot stick kind of person. And somehow I have no idea how this guy managed to get famous on here because I mean he's got no followers anywhere else. If you were to do a quick search of Ronan V on Google, you'll find all of his different profiles on here, and you're not going to find a single one of them where he has any kind of actual real following. Vimeo is a pretty funny one. He has been on here for 10 years, I believe. Over 10 years, like this Ronan's Adventure Trapped in an iPhone, this is 10 years old, and it's got like zero views on anything on here. Everything that this guy has managed to do prior to Clubhouse, he makes pictures, sounds, and words. And I mean, in doing so, he got 663 followers since 2007. That's more than 10 years. That's 15 years this guy's been on Vimeo, and he's made absolutely nothing of himself in that time frame. Next, we have Bobby Del Rio. Bobby Del Rio is actually really funny because he's not even famous on Clubhouse. He's only got 14,000 followers even on Clubhouse. But what's really funny about Bobby is that somehow this man has managed to get I don't know if I want to use the word famous, but he's trying to essentially, he's on Clubhouse saying that he's part of Hollywood, and he runs all these Hollywood rooms under his Bobby Del Rio group about how to get into Hollywood, how to get into Hollywood. And then next thing you know, when you Google him and look up what the guy is actually doing on Clubhouse, the first thing they've got is an article he wrote about himself by Bobby Del Rio called 3 months ago, Bobby Del Rio joined the audio app Clubhouse. Now he's making Hollywood movies. But the whole point of his entire Clubhouse presence is trying to say that he was already making Hollywood movies. Like he already was his entire profile about there supporting women in film and TV. How are you supporting women in film and TV when you're not even in film or TV, Bobby? That's the dumbest thing. This is exactly why people hate Clubhouse. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life. How in the world did you get 10,000 followers on Clubhouse, or sorry, 14,000 followers, based off of all of these rooms saying that you're already in Hollywood, and then you write your own article saying that you are now in Hollywood because of Clubhouse? That is the most ridiculous thing that I think I might have ever heard. Bobby Del Rio is ridiculous. This is stupid. You're not real, Bobby. You're an idiot. You're faking it. Nobody believes you. This is sad. The guy's way too old, by the way. He's like 44 years old and he's still playing fake pretend in Hollywood. That's just pathetic. And he's not the only one because they're on the other end of the spectrum. What we have on Clubhouse is number four. That is Dane Cook, who ironically has about as many followers as Bobby Del Rio, because Dane Cook is very much representative of the type of celebrity that you'll find on Clubhouse. Dane Cook is a washout. If you don't know who Dane Cook is, it's probably because you were born after long after he got like not famous anymore. He was famous at the turn of the century. He was actually one of the most famous comedians that ever existed in our lifetime. He sold out Madison Square Garden. Great for him, but he got accused of joke theft. He's basically been disgraced on every single end. Here's a Looper article basically going through every single thing about him, where he all of his movies basically got tanked. They made no money. They got panned by critics. He's notorious for stealing jokes. He was banned from the Laugh Factory. His drama career didn't turn out. He skipped out on playing Captain America. His comedy albums aren't selling. He's making bad jokes. Everything about what he's doing is just horrible. And this guy is, he's on Clubhouse all the time. It's so hilarious. If you ever get bored, just go and find one of Dane Cook's rooms. He's talking about how trolls suck and how he needs to create a safe space and stay away from all the people who are mean, because there's so many mean people on the internet and he needs people who are nice to him. And it's just so sad. He's another one of these people. He's Bobby Del Rio, but on the other end of it, Bobby Del Rio is a never made it, and Dane Cook is a has been. And these are your options for entertainers on Clubhouse. You're not going to find like the top of the line A-list celebrities. You're not going to find the baby on there. You're going to find MC Hammer on there. That's the difference, because nobody who's actually real and making any money is on Clubhouse. It's all the has-beens and the never will be's that are on there. And that's where we've got Dane Cook fitting in there. However, funny enough, Dane Cook was permanently banned from the Laugh Factory, and since he's been on Clubhouse, he apparently has been welcomed back into it because the Laugh Factory is that desperate and thirsty too. And so now, I mean, Dane Cook is back performing in the Laugh Factory. They're giving him a chance to come back from all of his nobody cares basically. But you can follow him on Clubhouse if you're that desperate. So then next after that, we have one of the biggest frauds that ever made it onto Clubhouse, and that's JT Fox. If you don't know who JT Fox is, he's a life coach. He is not on Clubhouse as much as he used to be, but he was all over Clubhouse for a while. That's how he got his six-digit following. He basically runs these rooms during the afternoon where he's just constantly telling people positive things about themselves and selling positivity. And I mean, it works for him. He's got a lot of people who believing that he actually is somebody when he's not. And you go through on his like his YouTube channel, for example. I mean, he's got an okay following on YouTube. I can almost guarantee that these are bot followers that he has, but he does have, I mean, he's making some kind of money off of YouTube. He's in the partner program at least. But these are just the funny. JT Fox is the closest thing I've ever met to Steve Jobs, is what he's trying to say. And I believe he was trying to make it sound as though Steve Wozniak is the person who said that, which is kind of funny because I don't know if Woz actually like thinks that I don't know what he thinks of Steve Jobs. I mean, besides the fact that he respects him and that he's dead and all that, but like maybe he does think that JT Fox is the next the next Steve Jobs, because he didn't think that Steve Jobs is anything but a salesman too. Either way, if you don't know JT Fox is, and nobody did before Clubhouse, he's basically been called out by Jason Calacanis. This is one of his most famous videos. Is actually
Coach.
on my channel, and what it is was the time when JT Fox, Brad Hager, and Manny Fernandez, who were three of the biggest scam artists on Clubhouse, got confronted for all of this by Jason Calacanis, who's a Silicon Valley VC, and wanted to point out basically the differences between him as a legitimate businessman versus them as just nobodies. And this is one of the most infamous rooms, especially of this year on Clubhouse. And everybody was essentially in this room watching everything. And I mean, obviously, they were all sitting here watching it, watching the recording of it later on. And JT Fox has since kind of moved from Clubhouse into mainstream media, where he's trying to I guess, revive his career and make something of himself like everybody else on Clubhouse. But I mean, again, I would not trust some of these people. Now, you'll notice in the top left corner of this room, there's a man named David. And David is actually number two on this list, just because of the order of what happened on here. Now, if you don't know who David is, his name is David Markovich. But he's changed his name now to Moshe Markovich. And this is the exact same person as who you're seeing right here in this picture. He's just changed this picture up. And the reason that he changed everything up was because of an article that happened back in February. This was actually about a week before I joined Clubhouse. I had no idea that this was going on. I met David Markovich end of February, early March, in that range. And I mean, this is basically what happened was he was making a room. It was an Asian welcome room, is what it was, and he's a white Jewish guy who lives in Mexico and has no idea how anything in Asian culture works. He was just trying to get clout on Clubhouse, and a bunch of Asian people got really pissed off because he didn't speak any of the languages. He was being quite rude to them. Like right here, where they basically say, "Let's welcome China, Japan to Clubhouse," is what he was doing, and he basically went through and just completely had a meltdown, destroyed everyone, disrespected everybody, destroyed his reputation on here. There was this huge article. Everybody on every social media platform was telling him that he is essentially racist and doing everything wrong. Here you can see his profile. He didn't even change that part. Randomly curate unique rooms and interview awesome guests is still what he stuck it up to. So I mean, he made all the other changes so he can continue being popular in some way, but he still is quite clearly the exact same person. When you go through, he's David on LinkedIn, but on Instagram, he erased everything so he can be Moshe Markovich and have Stephanie and Moshe on here so that he can reinvent himself and get over the fact that he had offended every Asian on Clubhouse. And now he's going back through. And last month, what he did was started another one instead of with Japanese and Chinese. He started one for Israelis and Palestinians and went through this whole thing to make himself the center of attention after making this meeting place for Israelis and Palestinians, which is all performative. Like none of this changed anything in any of the stuff that's going on in Gaza Strip or any of that stuff. And here he is just bragging about it at NPR and just getting his name in there and using Clubhouse essentially and all of these people's pain and all this war so that he can, get some clout for his business, which is basically what Clubhouse people do. And I don't know why changing your first name is even acceptable. I don't know why people even think that this is okay. Like why you would allow somebody to rebrand himself like that when you know that. I mean, clearly why he is doing this is because he doesn't want to take responsibility for this article that was written about him. And I mean, clearly all of these people have a point and are saying something that they really need to have. I mean, whatever. This is what Clubhouse is. They support all of this kind of stuff, and basically everyone can be full of shit. And that brings us to number one on this list, who is Paul Davison. If you don't know Paul Davison, he is the CEO and co-founder of Clubhouse. So all of these insane people and all these scam artists and all these just ridiculous things that are going on this platform, it's all his fault. He's the one who's not only allowing it but encouraging it. He goes out of his way. He loved like the Israel-Palestinian thing. He doesn't care that David's scamming all these people. Paul is trying to expand into Japan and China and all of Asia, and in the meantime, he's got a guy who he basically insulted all of them, and Paul is using him in order to get more clout for himself and for his platform. In fact, this entire Creator First thing, if you remember this, a month ago they did a Creator First pilot season. Go Google it. They brought it up a month ago, and it's still going on. It's going on for the next 3 months, and none of those creators got anything from Clubhouse. None of them got any promotion. None of them got any kind of the support that they were told that they were going to get. And it's all just because this man Paul Davison he's a fraud. He's a scam artist. He has no idea what he's doing. He happened to have made an app that people liked during the pandemic, and after that, I mean, he didn't know what to do with it. He squandered the opportunity. He ruined it. He doesn't know how to program it. He's too lazy. He's high in his own supply. He's listening to all this stuff on there, but he won't listen to actual people. He just wants to listen to the content. We've tried to give him so many different things, so many suggestions, and so many different ways of fixing all of his problems, and he chooses to ignore it. And that's why I left. I got out of Club. I burned my entire account because I didn't even want to be a part of this cult because I'm not going to support a guy who doesn't even support me as a user. That's ridiculous. I mean, any other platform you can get support, but Clubhouse, they just don't care. This man's a scam artist. And look at the people that he allows on here. Everyone that I showed you back there is just a ridiculous story. You've got a guy who's famous for talking about Hollywood, who got popular, not even famous, who got popular on Clubhouse for talking about working in Hollywood, and is now using his Clubhouse clout to get a job in Hollywood for the first time ever in his life. Well, how in the world are you the expert on Hollywood when you're just now getting into Hollywood? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That's what all of these people basically are, is just scam artists in some different way or another. And that's why nobody goes on Clubhouse. Clubhouse is just a complete ripoff. And I had to change everything because I started Clubhouse Combos thinking that this was going to be like the dawn of the new creator economy. But really, it's just a scam filled with a bunch of Ponzi scheme people and cultists that don't know what they're doing, that are selling you fluff and air and nothing and ripping people off. And this is the man who's responsible for all of it. While the other five people are just ridiculous people that just prove that this is just a ridiculous platform nobody belongs on. This is the guy. This is the guy who. Oh, sorry, can't even talk right now. This is the guy right here. I cannot do this on video. It's the opposite direction. But yeah, this guy right here, Paul Davison, he's the guy who did all of that. And it's because he's lazy, he's an idiot, he's entitled. He can't even hire a graphic designer to make an app design or an app logo. He's got to just harvest users' pictures. And then he doesn't even do that right. He ends up messing that up and put Drew Kataoka, I believe it. Kataoka is her name right now. But she was never announced when she was made the icon. It was supposed to be Aja Monet, and that never happened. It just, Axel was like that for 2 extra months, and Axel Mansour is broke too because being the Clubhouse icon did nothing for him, and it did everything for Clubhouse, made Clubhouse look like they're all inclusive and blah blah blah, but did nothing for the actual people that they were using. And I mean, that's what it is. Clubhouse is a scam. All of these people are ridiculous. I cannot believe that anybody is actually joining all this crap to get life coaching from some guy who has no life, to learn about Hollywood from a guy who's never been to Hollywood, to have some racist dude change his name and act like it didn't happen. All of this stuff is just ridiculous. This should not be allowed to happen. Somebody should be stopping all this stuff. People need to call like the feds and all sorts of shit to come after all the scams. People promise money every day on Clubhouse they never give out. They steal music every day. There's just so many things going on. It's a criminal organization. I personally, I don't support Clubhouse. I don't think anybody should support Clubhouse. And I mean, that's pretty much what I've got to say about that. We're going to go over more ridiculous follows and things about them later on. So make sure that you follow this channel on Twitch, on Substack, on YouTube, everywhere else. And this has been Brian Penny with Clubhouse Combos, and I hope you have a wonderful night, and I will see you tomorrow.